Good morning, friends. Welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny, and today we are going to give you just a little quick update on how all the patio plants are doing. You have seen us, of course, plant this whole thing this season, and a bunch of you have been asking how things are progressing. So we thought we would do just a really kind of a quick tour to show you how everything is surviving in this mid-August weather. Standing right here beside these this beautiful unique stone urn and a pedestal, there is one Supertunia bubblegum in this container. I planted it in, gosh, it would have been like early mid-April. It's just one plant. And I have cut this back at least 3 times really severe because I want to keep bubblegum a little bit more contained. Of course, the Vista series and bubblegum, especially in my opinion, is one of the most vigorous petunias. And so in the landscape, of course, we just let her go. And in the container, I wanted to let her go too, to a point, because I didn't want to hide this gorgeous urn. So I have kept her controlled and she is doing great. So never underestimate the power of one plant to give you a huge wow factor. So just give you an update on that. And then walking through, of course, to the patio, towards the patio, this is obviously the bed right here underneath the forest pansy that my mom and I planted. It is doing fantastic. I mean, look at these Persian shields. They have just taken off and are doing a great job. There's kind of a ribbon going through there. All the perennials that we either transplanted or moved are just thriving and doing great. The butterfly bushes, this is the Pugster White. I have been kind of keeping more up on it as far as deadheading. Obviously, I need to do it right now. Typically, I don't deadhead my butterfly bushes, but because this is in a high profile area and we have that party coming in the early September, I want to kind of keep this fresh and continually blooming. So they're doing great. This is the perennial salvia that Jerry had went to a propagation workshop at Plant Delights in Raleigh. Oh my gosh, like 10, 11 years ago. And look at that. Is that not a fantastic salvia? Salvia Diane. Gorgeous colors. And then of course these annual vincas right here are just doing great. I mean, I think I've water soluble fertilized them maybe twice. So nice and big, just doing a great job. And then the roses are doing very well. This is, of course, the David Alston roses. This is the Generous Gardener. Both of them are, clearly. They're climbing roses. Bought these as bare root plants. They came in late April. I think it was like even early May. So bare root, this is what happens when you get really good rootstock. Gorgeous growth, beautiful, delicate, very light pink. So they start out a little bit of a darker pink, and then as the blooms age, it'll almost turn a white. Classic rose smell, just wonderful. Such a sweet, sweet smell. So I can't imagine this. I think probably by next year, this time next year, it should have covered the whole thing. So fun on that. It's just a beautiful one. And I'll tell you this too. If Jerry can get in here, obviously with climbing roses, you're gonna have to tie them to your, whatever your trellis is. So right here is this little, it's a hollow black tubing, and it is meant to tie climbing plants to a support. Super easy. I got it off of Amazon. It is linked in our Amazon store on the video description. So if you need something like this, it's great for like tomatoes, roses, any kind of climbing thing that you've got to tie up to help support. It's great. It comes in this nice little roll. I just pull what I need and clip it, and it's stretchy and hollow, and the plant clearly is responding really well to it. Now, over here, this is the bed that I about killed myself in when it was so crazy hot. If you remember that video, yeah, that was fun. And so I used the power planter auger to dig the holes in for Supertunia Vista Silverberry, the super white Angelonia, and then in the back is the pink Guara, which will be a perennial. These things have done amazingly well. And if you remember in that video, I did not really amend this soil at all, and it was really hard, red clay. I did add biotone to each hole, and I did do a slow release, the time release fertilizer from Proven Winners. I have water soluble fertilize them on a somewhat regular basis. I need to do some more, but this whole area has done great. Really, really happy with it. And super whites, this is the difference in between just a super white and a regular white. The super whites are meant for a landscape, so they'll get nice and big. And then coming on around, I know a lot of y'all have already asked about the water feature. Yeah, it's still not done yet. It is what it is. All right, so we will get it, and yes, there's weeds in there. We'll take care of all that. While we're over here, I do want to show you, because in one of our latest videos, we installed the landscape lighting for the patio, and a bunch of you were asking, well, how in the world do you change the light bulbs? It looks like it's really difficult. So I wanted to show you on this spotlight how really easy it is. So I'm gonna let Jerry come in here with me. So this is the spotlight, of course, and we have two of these on the forest pansy. Underneath, there's a little brass screw. So you just unscrew that. On the case, well, I gotta go all the way, I guess. I don't want to lose my screw. This just comes right off, and then this is the light bulb, and you just pull it out and replace it. This is kind of there's like a seal right here so that water doesn't get onto it, and then you just kind of push it back on, get the adjustment right, get your screw back in, and then just screw it back in. We got all of our, and always get our landscape lighting from Volt Lighting. I will link that in the description. So check that out. They have all sorts of great kits, so you don't have to create your own. It all comes together and all the things that you need, and you can add different pieces to it. So that is a great option. Coming around, the Caladiums are still doing fantastic. This little area I just planted a couple of days ago. So if you remember, we had the new, I think it was marshmallow Shasta daisies in here. I'm not sure what happened. It's not the plant, it's the growing conditions. I think this is wetter than I anticipated when we run irrigation. I may have killed them. And so, because we're having this party, I need to have a lot of flower power. So I planted like 24 of the Sunstar Rose Pentas in here. They're already looking so much better. They've been in these 4.25 containers since the spring, so they were looking a little sad. But they are already bouncing back, getting darkened up, getting a lot more green foliage. So in 3 or 4 weeks, they will be doing great. Over here, Firelight Tidbit. New hydrangea from Proven Winners. This is Firelight on a very small scale. So you can see the new blooms, of course, of that classic creamy white. And then these are already starting to get some little pink hues to them. So this Firelight Tidbit, if you want a beautiful panicle, gives you gorgeous colors, lots of blooms, but you don't have the massive room for it, like the traditional Firelight. Tidbit would be a great one. I think it's only like 2 feet tall. Then of course this is a little quickfire. Both of these are full sun plants. This one is doing fantastic. And then we have, well, Yin and Yang. I can't remember who is who, but Yin and Yang Viburnum, again, brand new ones from Proven Winners. These are evergreens. They are wider than they are tall. I want to say they're 3 feet tall, 4 feet wide. This, y'all, is one of my new favorite plants. If you have, like along your foundation and you want an evergreen, but say you don't like a boxwood or you want something low, then Yin and Yang would be great ones. We do Yin and Yang together because they will pollinate each other. So they do little sweet little white blooms. They'll cross-pollinate, and then those blooms will turn into little small blue berries. If you just did Yin or you just did Yang, then you wouldn't get the little berries. But love this. Now, we were here just a couple of short weeks ago, and I really cut back both the Cascade Pink Angelonia and my Super Petunia Mini Vista White petunias. So I wanted to show you how they are doing. Roald Dahl, I think I need to come in here and make a bouquet and get him limbed up a little bit. But they are doing really, really well. Like, look at this. Look how well this is doing. So don't be afraid to trim back your annuals. A lot of times they are going to respond, for the vast majority of annuals, they respond really, really well. So this is already flushed back out with gorgeous blooms. My Angelonia, remember this is a cascade, so it's not dry, it's a weeping one. So it's got tons of new growth. There's buds all over it. So much so that the Mini Vista is doing well, that it's starting to take over the little sassy frog right here. Doing really, really well. And coming along, you can't even tell where I did trim back some of the Diamond Mountain Euphorbia. It, yeah, it's doing great. It's doing fine. So again, don't be afraid to trim them back. Give them that water-soluble fertilizer. Give them that time release. Somebody asked me on one of the comments, she said, I don't understand. You cut back the annuals because they were too big, and then you turned around and fed them to make them grow. She said, that doesn't make any sense. Things get out of control. And so when these annuals start growing really long, like what was happening here, you have all your blooms on the tips of the branching and nothing in the center. The center starts to look dead. So what we do is, yes, we trim it back and fertilize it so that we get a more of a tight habit with blooms that are all over the entire plant, as opposed to just blooms right here and dead looking foliage right here. So that is why we cut them back and then fed them to encourage new growth and new branching, so forth and so on. Like, look how tight this plant is. Really, really tight. Lots of new growth. All those little tiny little balls that you might see, those are going to be blooms. And in a couple of weeks, in a week, it's going to be bursting like this is already starting to be. Now, here, this was July the 5th, where I really whacked these back. This is the Super Petunia Vista Snowdrift. Severely cut those back. And in fact, I've already had to start trimming them up again because they're getting into the roses, and I don't want them to encroach on the roses because that would prevent the roses from growing. Again, won't do these next year, but that's all right, we live and learn. Now, if you'll just kind of pan up to the deck boxes, some of y'all might be having a heart attack right now. So yesterday morning, about this time, I went up there and I severely, sorry, I'm playing with the sun here, severely pruned back all of those plants. I mean, Jenny showed absolute no mercy and trimmed them back probably about as severe as you possibly can. And if you look at them, you might, oh my gosh, Jenny, you have killed all of your plants. I don't think so. And I did this for a couple of reasons. One, again, they were out of control. I had really planted those boxes really full. Do I regret it? No, because it was gorgeous for months and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The container kind of changed over the seasons as different plants took off and had a lot of growth. Again, we're having this party. I need it to be nice and full. We were gone to New Hampshire for a couple of days. It was really hot and they didn't get watered properly. So a lot of them had a lot of burnt foliage on it. They were just looking sad. So I went in there and I trimmed them up. I actually used scissors because I could get more leverage on them. Just cut them back. Then I went back and added the Proven Winners Time Release Fertilizer. Thoroughly soaked that bed because it had been dry. So I really wanted to soak and saturate that bed with just good old water to start to activate the time release fertilizer. And then I went back with the water soluble fertilizer to again give them an instant shot of food. So what I will do is just continue to water this daily. I will water soluble fertilize it about once a week, and then we should start to see some new growth in just a matter of like a week. And so we will know how the whole bed is doing. The one last thing I want to give you an update on are the urns, because we had been here when we cut back the snowdrifts, and so the urns are doing amazingly well. This is the skyrocket grass. There is only one in there, and then we have diamond frost on each side. So they are filling in quite nicely. They have to be watered every single day because all of these are really water hogs, and if you miss waterings on your grasses, they can turn brown really easily and they're not gonna bounce back. So because of this party, I need them to stay nice and fresh and not have brown foliage in them. So we are making sure that they get water every single day. They are doing gloriously well. I mean, both of them just look fantastic, and you'll notice that they're already starting to turn some of the fall, a little bit of the deep purple on the plumes. So they will take on that fall look to them, and doing great. Super happy with how everything is doing. You'll notice we got our unique stone. The pineapple is back here on this little section. I'm gonna have another one on the other side, because if you will remember, pineapples are a sign of hot southern hospitality, very famous, especially in the Charleston area. So I wanted to have 2 pineapples. Very happy with that. But yeah, I think that's about it as far as the tour goes and the update on everything. We do have, of course, caladiums in the hanging baskets on the porch. Those are White Wonder, and again, they are just doing amazingly well. Sun or shade, super easy to do. If you don't have caladiums in your garden, you need to add them because they're just low maintenance, high performing plants. Anyway, I hope you have found this helpful. Hope you found it interesting to see how everything is doing and growing and progressing. I will definitely keep you updated on those deck boxes because, again, no mercy, Jenny. I was just ruthless and just went in there and encouraging them to put their best foot forward, and so that they will be pretty in the next couple of weeks. But as always, thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.